What's going on, guys? Kha'zix here, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I'll be doing an in-depth Kha'zix jungle guide. This guide is reworked from the one I did earlier this season, since quite some stuff has changed. So I definitely want to update this guide as well. Now, Kha'zix is one of my personal favorite champions. He's pretty much my go-to solo queue champion to have the most fun with. Evidently, from the account that I've been climbing on recently, my goal is to get rank 1 Kha'zix. I'm currently rank 2, I believe. I'm extremely close, and it's just like the build I go with is definitely the best build you could go with when it comes to just playing Kha'zix. Now, this is a Conqueror build. This is not a lethality build. However, I will mention the lethality build as well. And with that being said, if you want to catch me streaming live, playing Kha'zix, playing whatever, make sure to do so. There's a link in the description, and just follow me there. Come say hi, you know, join. And yeah, with all that being said, let's get right into the runes. Now, for the runes on Kha'zix, the one to go for is Conqueror. This is by far the best rune. Even if you are building lethality, Conqueror is still good. It will give additional sustain as well as nice adaptive damage, which is easily procced with Kha'zix. You can jump in, E will give you a proc, Q will give you a proc, W will give you a proc, and that's all double stacked, so you really stack your Conqueror really fast. Another auto attack will do it, and you will have it stacked. Now, that will mean a lot of adaptive damage as well as a lot of additional healing. Every single Q you do will also heal 15% of that damage. On top of this, you combine this with Ravenous Hunter as well. This is the secondary rune you want to get. This will give you an absurd amount of healing, which is going to allow you to sustain through every single fight and scale very well into the game, into any 1v1 against really anybody. It doesn't matter who you're facing. With Ravenous Hunter and Conqueror, you should come out ahead if you aren't very far behind. So with Conqueror, you want to get Presence of Mind. You want to get Presence of Mind simply because the only thing this build has, issue-wise, is mana problems. You can easily run out of mana in the mid to late game if you are going for extended fights, and Presence of Mind completely solves this actually. Like, you will have a lot more mana in the game, and also every takedown will restore a lot of your maximum mana as well. You do not need Triumph for additional health sustain, simply because you have Conqueror, you have Ravenous Hunter. You will also build a Death's Dance in a setup like this, and it's just going to be sustain galore. Like, every single Q heals you for like 200 HP or more, and it's just going to be completely absurd. Like, there is no way you're going to get low on HP. The only thing you're going to get low at is mana, and that's why you take Presence of Mind. Alongside Presence of Mind, you have either Tenacity or Alacrity. Tenacity if they have hard CC. If they don't really have any hard CC, you can go the attack speed as well. Extra attack speed is nice, getting more attacks off in 1v1 situations. Getting your auto attacks out faster is also good, so that's just the option here. But usually they'll have enough CC to where Tenacity is going to be the one that's worth it. Now, for this last one, all three of these are an option. It depends highly on the enemy team. If the enemy team is extremely tanky, Sejuani, Nunu, Mundo, like Volibear, all those Ornn, those types of champions, you want to get Cut Down, because Cut Down will actually do a lot to those champions specifically. Your maximum health on Kha'zix isn't that high, so it's actually pretty worth it to get Cut Down, and then you will like do a lot of damage to those champions. That's only in those situations. If you are facing a bunch of squishies, Conqueror build still good, but lethality build is then an option as well. However, with Conqueror, you do want to get coup de grace, because this is going to make executing people on lower HPs a lot easier. And with your damage output, you're going to easily get them below 40% HP for this to proc. Now, if you are facing a lot of duelists in a game, then Last Stand's also a viable option, simply because they will deal a lot more damage back to you, and then this will like do more than Coop would. So a lot of bruisers in the enemy team, think Set, think Fiora, think those types of champions. If they have multiple of those, then Last Stand's better than Coop, but that's completely up to there. So that's it for these runes right here. Secondary runes, as I mentioned, Ravenous Hunter is the key rune. I see some Kha'zix players go with Magical Footwear and Cosmic Insight. I have honestly no idea why. The only thing I can think of is, well, nice, you have 45% CDR, congratulations. However, Ravenous Hunter is such an insanely strong rune. Like, there are games I'm healing 13,000, 14,000 health from just Ravenous Hunter out of a single rune. This gives you so much sustain in fights, from every Q, from Ws, everything. Ravenous Hunter is just incredibly good. Also, this will keep you topped up on your jungle clear without any issues at all as well. Plus, just makes doing anything just a lot easier. This is definitely the one you want to get. Now, secondary, you have two choices, really. I'm going to mention Sudden Impact. Sudden Impact with this build setup specifically, without going lethality, it's not good on Kha'zix. It does maybe 300 damage in your average game at most as a damage increase, and that's going to be about it. I've tested this over multiple games simply because I was used to playing a lot of lethality Kha'zix before I switched to this build. And with this set right here, it's just been doing 300 damage in 30-minute games, and it's just not that high. It really, like, sure, 7 lethality might not seem as much, but if you're going for a sustained damage build, then 7 lethality actually does nothing, and it has a 4-second cooldown as well. So you're not going to just go for one-shot bursts every single time. You're going for more sustained damage, take a little bit more time, and then sudden impact holds less value. So other options instead of sudden impact are cheap shot, Cheap shot is actually extremely valuable. This does a lot more damage than you think it does. I've tested this, and in like 30-minute games, this can easily go up to from like 1,000 to 1,500 damage additional. That's a lot more than sudden impact gives at only 300 damage to 400 damage in average games with this setup. So this is really, really good there. And another option is eyeball collection alongside this. This just gives you straight up 18 extra attack damage. That can never go wrong. And I've been doing this lately, and I've been feeling really, really good on this as well. I was running cheap shot over this for a while, but I feel that the 18 extra attack damage actually does a little bit more. Also helps you snowball a bit better if you do get a couple kills early game, because that 18 extra attack damage stacks up pretty quickly. So that's it for the secondary runes. Just take Ravenous Hunter, honestly. There is no reason not to get it. It's so strong on Kha'zix. It works on every single queue. And yeah. Now for the runes right here, you just want to get double Adaptive Force to be able to clear a jungle the fastest possible. Also, Adaptive Force skills extremely well with Kha'zix queues and everything like that, so it's just the best one to go for. And then defensive-wise, it's either Magic Resist or Armor, depending on what you are facing in the enemy jungler. So if the enemy jungler is AP, pick Magic Resist. If it's AD, pick Armor. And that's it for the Conqueror setup. This is what you should run. Pretty much every game you could run this. You can switch here mostly or maybe here, but apart from this you could just run this, and this is very, very strong. This is a lot of HP sustain, mana sustain, and you can keep your devs extremely low whilst being extremely useful in teamfights as well. So yeah, now the lethality setup for the runes is pretty much just going Electrocute or Dark Harvest. You're gonna go Electrocute for a little bit more strength in the early game, however Dark Harvest skills a lot better. And if you are confident in your Kha'zix play and confident in the fact you can get a lead, then Dark Harvest outperforms Electrocute towards the later stages. Now, following that up, Sudden Impact is good on lethality Kha'zix because you're stacking lethality, you're going for the quick burst one-shots, and then this is going to do a lot more damage than just 300 a game with the other build. And for here, you can go for the Eyeball Collection. You can also go for Zombie Ward if you are going for the warding lethality item. I forget his name right now. But that instantly clears wards, that one specifically. Then this one's good, and you again want to get Ravenous Hunter. Ravenous Hunter is key. Same goes for lethality Kha'zix. It's just Kha'zix in general. Ravenous Hunter gives you so much healing off of every single Q you do. It's completely crazy. So definitely go for this setup right here. And then as a secondary tree, you have options. Because now you already have Ravenous Hunter, so you can go for Magical Footwear, Cosmic Insight if you want. However, in a lot of situations, I will just go for Absolute Focus with Water Walking to be stronger in River Scuttle fights, so this will give me more strength at 1v1ing people there. You can also go Nimbus Cloak if you want for additional movement speed. Other options include going Presence of Mind Still if you find the mana to be a problem on lethality Kha'zix. I find my mana issues to be really non-existent on lethality Kha'zix. Is more so on the Conqueror version, on a sustained fight version, because basically you're doing nothing with this build right here until you just jump in and start one-shotting the enemy team. So yeah, that's option there, but Presence of Mind is still going to be good. You're still going to give mana sustain, and you can combine that with Coop, or you can combine it with Tenacity as well. So it's pretty much it for the secondary runes for this one. Dark Harvest or Electrocute is honestly personal preference, whatever you want to go for. Dark Harvest skills better. And yeah, that's been it for the runes, because this really doesn't change. Same concept applies. Yeah, so with all that being said, if you guys have any questions, make sure to put us in the comments below. And I'll move on to the item build now. Alright, so for the item build on Kha'zix, you want to start with a Hunter's Talisman and a refillable potion. Hunter's Talisman is the best thing you can get to clear with Kha'zix, because this will pretty much sustain you through your jungle camps and also burn the camps down, making your jungle clear a little bit more efficient. If you are going for a quick 3-camp clear and going for aggressive early plays, which I wouldn't recommend because Kha'Zix really isn't that good early game, and it will only pay off if you actually pick up the kill. You can go a Hunter's Machete as well to do your 3-camp clear quicker, which includes double buff and gromp, and then that will be quicker then. But in any other situation, just full clear on the initial clear, and then Talisman will be your best bet. Now, moving on from Talisman, the item you want to upgrade it to is a Warrior enchant no matter what, and depending on the build you're going for, but I'm going to go mention the Conqueror build first, you want to go Red Smite or Blue Smite. Now, for Conqueror build, Red Smite is by far the best one because you're going for sustained damage, sustained fights, and better 1v1 potential. So basically, Red Smite is just going to give you like so much advantage in 1v1ing anybody across the map that you definitely want to get this. Following up a Red Smite is going to be Boots. The Boots upgrade is either Ninja Tabi or Mercs, depending on what's going to be good into the enemy team. You can get Boots somewhere in between whilst you're building your Warrior enchant. However, if you have the money to just get items from your Warrior, that's way better because the Warrior is the biggest power spike you can almost have. At this point, you can literally just run at somebody and insta-kill them already from that early stage in the game if they don't really have any armor. Also, this is going to be very good for objective control, like Dragons and Rift Heralds. You're going to be bursting those down really quickly as well. So just rushing into a Warrior without even going for Boots is, in general, already pretty worth it. So the Boots option here. Now, for this build specifically, you have the Black Cleaver as your main item. Main damage item is Black Cleaver. And this item is just going to give you 20% CDR, which is very good with your kit, pretty much reducing your W cooldown and your ult cooldown at the same time. This will already give 30% CDR between the two of these items, and this is just going to put a lot more pressure. You can Q more often, W more often, just abilities more often, and with Presence of Mind, you'll have enough mana to sustain through everything. Also, the Black Cleaver stacks up armor penetration really fast. So you go in and your E procs it, W procs it, Q procs it, auto attack procs it, and you will instantly have like a fully stacked Black Cleaver on somebody really quickly. So this is something that's definitely valuable and I would go for. Now, moving on from Black Cleaver, there are options you can go for right now. In a lot of games, if you have the need for healing reduction, like you can pick it up right after the Black Cleaver or even before the Black Cleaver, after the Warrior, depending how severe you need it. So let's say the enemy team is Vladimir, Kane, Mundo, Yumi, bot lane, that type of stuff, Soraka, whatever. You're just gonna need Executional Sculling as soon as possible. You might as well build something like this. You can go Warrior, into normal Boots, into Executional Sculling, and then build the rest of your build. But just make sure that you build this somewhere, wherever you need it. If you don't need it, that's fine too, but make sure you do not forget about this item. Because with Executional Sculling, your W is pretty much going to AoE apply healing reduction consistently. So you can just W the enemy team, they're going to get healing reduced for 3 seconds. You can basically just off that, have perma healing reduction on them by going on and damaging whoever's needed to be damaged. So this is a very high value item for only 800 gold, and I definitely would not recommend you to forget this ever. Because with that W evolve, this is a very high value item. So yeah, with that. The main damage item you want to get after the Black Cleaver is going to be your Death's Dance. This basically gives you endless sustain. It gives you 30 armor, 30 magic resist, making you pretty tanky, as well as giving you the healing effect on top of Conqueror healing, on top of Ravenous Hunter healing. This is just going to stack up so much that every single Q you do heals you for 250 or more HP. Like, it's just going to be crazy strong, and you're just going to be able to sustain yourself through every single fight, keeping your impact very high whilst keeping your deaths extremely low as well, which is a very good combination because like, if you have a good lead and you start just inting it away, dying, giving shutdown gold, that's also not ideal. So the Death's Dance basically makes you unkillable. The moment you get that item, my deaths probably drop to less than 1 or 2 at that point. So from that point onwards, I rarely die on Kha'Zix. Most of my deaths are before this item simply because you can get bursted a little bit easier if you do misstep. So this is a very good combination of items, these 4. It is very linear build as well. There's really doesn't have to be any variation because you're basically building damage into tankier damage with a lot of armor penetration into being even tankier on top of more sustain and damage at the same time. You're not going for burst damage, sustain damage is key here. And then from here on out, you can still go for Executioners if you want it, because the next item is going to be either one of the Lost Whispers, so either Mortal Reminder or Lord Dominic's Regards. Lord Dominic's is going to be better when it comes to just doing more damage. If they don't really have any champions that you need to cancel their healing out of, which rarely happens these days because they're very common now. You can just go Lord Dominic's over going the Mortal Reminder. But right now you don't need any extra tankiness, you don't need any extra sustain. You have plenty of that in these 4 items alongside your runes, and you should be fine. So getting the armor penetration here is good, whatever one of the 2 it is. Now this is a 5 item build. You might wonder what is the last item going to be. Well, the last item is fairly simple. It's just basically just going to be a Guardian Angel. Guardian Angel is very high value, giving you a second life. You're already going to be extremely difficult to kill, like really, really difficult to kill with this setup right here. So you can sustain, you will have a lot of armor, and then Guardian Angel will give you a second life, which on top of that, it's going to make you extremely hard to kill right after, because you're basically just going to sustain all your health back, especially if you have Last Stand, because if you come out of Guardian Angel and Q somebody once, you're going to heal for like 400 to 500 from a single Q. And if you have Red Smite as well, that would synergize pretty well. It's just very, very strong. Now, if your Guardian Angel is on cooldown, you can opt to drop this item for the Stone Plate as well. Now, you might wonder why Stone Plate. Well, basically, this item setup already gives you all the damage you could possibly need. You can play fights a little slower, go for a bit more sustained damage, and Stone Plate basically gives you 80 armor, 80 magic resist if you're jumping into the enemy team. So you already have 30 armor, 30 magic resist from your Death's Dance, then you have a good amount of armor from your ninjas as well. You're just going to be extremely tanky and extremely difficult to kill. Kha'zix doesn't necessarily have to do damage with this build. If you pop Stone Plate and just annoy them with W slows, your team can catch up and then win a team fight from there as well. So if GA is on cooldown, you can just drop it for a Stone Plate. Stone Plate's a cheap item, so it's easily dropped. You don't necessarily need to have much gold to make up for it, if you know what I mean. So you can easily just do that. Another item that's going to be good as well, if you do need magic resist, it's going to be a Maw. This is a high damage item, gives magic resist, gives you a good amount of sustain. Also a lifeline passive, which is going to increase your sustain as well. So this is very good if you need a magic resist item in this slot. You could do something like this. You can go, for example, Guardian Angel after these items and then sell your jungle item for the Maw if you do find that you are struggling against AP damage a little bit more. So that's an option as well. Final option in this build is the Mercurial Scimitar if you do need the QSS. Now this isn't very common with this build setup simply because you have the tenacity in your runes if you pick your runes smart enough. Because if you're going to need a QSS into a team, you most likely will have picked tenacity already. And then if you just get Mercs instead of Ninja Tabai, you're basically not getting CC'd and you cannot get one shot. Because this build's extremely tanky and extremely durable as well. So usually QSS doesn't necessarily come to mind. But in some games you kind of have to get it still, and it's an option. Now another item you could sell your jungle item for potentially is a Strix to finish this off with. Let's say you have Guardian Angel or you have Stone Plate. In this situation you would have a full build like this. So let's say maybe this right here. This gives a lot of health on top of the health here, on top of armor magic resist from this one. You can pop this as well to gain even more health, be annoying, just slow with Qs, or sorry, slow with Ws. And this just does a high amount of damage in general. And late game, your jungle item is not going to be as valuable anymore. The main thing you're going to be smiting anyway is going to be the Barons and Dragons, and that's about it. Red smiting here doesn't matter anymore since you have enough damage anyway and enough dual potential that you don't necessarily need it. So again, here it's either GA or Stone Plate. They switch out pretty perfectly with each other to be on cooldown when this is not up. Go Stone Plate, otherwise other way around. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Kha'zix build. Now one thing that I do want to mention is please don't go Maw of Motherboard alongside the Strix. That doesn't work. They both have a lifeline passive, so that won't happen. Then the item kind of goes to waste. So that's basically it for the Conqueror setup. Now the Lethality setup is very straightforward. Here you basically just go for the Blue Smite jungle item because you're looking to get as much burst as possible. So Blue Smite will give more added burst, also will help you catch up to people a little bit easier, especially if you go Nimbus Cloak in your runes as well. So from here on out, it is just lethality items, honestly. Boots you could pick up in this build include mobility boots are very good for a build setup like this because you're going to be using this to run around really fast, get people that are splitting, just one-shot those really quickly on the map, and that's a good item to pick up. You can of course still go for defensive boots as well in this setup because there is no problem there. But usually when I play Lethality Kha'zix, I will play with mobility boots early game and then swap them for one of the tankier boots later on. So let's just say you have mobility boots, and it's just going to be a case of building some lethality items. So Duskblade is a very high value lethality item on Kha'zix. You can proc this multiple times with your ultimate invisibility, and it's just the main one you want to get first. After this, Edge of Night is the highest value, really simply because it gives you a spell shield, and that spell shield is extremely valuable. Also, this gives you additional health, making you a little bit more tanky, which is good as well. Now, from here on out, you basically only want to build 2 lethality items. Other items that include, like other items you could buy are Ghostblade or the Umbral Glaive. So both of these are good, but usually it's going to be either one of these 3. So you're going to go Edge of Night, Ghostblade, or Umbral Glaive, because getting more lethality items after this actually isn't that valuable. It is better to just go straight up Armor Pen out of the Lord Dominic's for 35% armor penetration, since this will do more in general than one of the lethality items, and this also scales better at that point. So let's say you have a build like this, 5 items. You can end off this build with a Death's Dance for sustain, additional tankiness as well, but mainly sustain. Even on lethality Kha'zix in the later stages of the game, you're going to need that additional sustain to be able to survive. So you can swap your boots as well at the late stages here. And this is going to make you extremely tanky. The lethality is still going to kick through, it's still going to one-shot a lot of people. But later game, lethality is going to be a little bit less effective. And then the Death's Dance sustain is going to come in. Now, to switch out the final item, you can sell your jungle item in this case again for your Guardian Angel. Just to have a second life to be more durable. You already have plenty of damage coming from the rest of your items. Death's Dance late game kind of transitions you into a more of a sustain setup as well. And that with Ravenous Hunter combined, you can sustain pretty well. And this will just scale out through the game. So you have a very high impact early game with mobility boots, roam ability, and lethality. And then you get kills. That way you can get snowballing and you can get into game early. If the game drags on, you can go into armor penetration, Death's Dance, Guardian Angel, and that's your build setup right there. So that's pretty much been it for the build setup on Kha'zix. If you guys have any questions, do make sure to put those in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer those questions for you. And let's just get right into the gameplay section now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I'm playing Kha'zix, of course, into a Lee Sin. Now, this matchup for Kha'zix is actually pretty good, mainly because if you get a jump on Lee Sin, you will win the 1v1 in a lot of cases. If you time your ult properly, then he will not be able to kick you away either, so you can just get the engage and basically just one-shot him whilst he doesn't really do any damage back. The only way he could win this matchup is he himself gets extremely far ahead and does just enough damage to Q ult Q you and just instantly kill you that way. So that's the way you can die. Now, for Kha'zix, the early game, you're really not that strong, so your main thing you're going to have to play for is you're going to have to farm, and most of the time full clear your initial clear. So go for the entire sweep of your, like all of your camps, it doesn't matter what side of the map you're on. Try to get a Scuttle Crab. Also pay attention to where the enemy jungler starts, because this will give a clear indication as to how he's gonna clear and where he's gonna clear towards. This means if he starts red buff, he's most likely gonna clear towards top side, so you can then just full clear down if you start at red buff yourself, and then just don't have to worry about him contesting the bot scuttle, because he's just gonna accept the fact that it's gone, so you can just full clear all of your camps and then do bot scuttle for free. Now, if this isn't the case, and you're clearing, for example, from blue rough right here, alongside the enemy jungler towards top side, and the enemy jungler is an early game champion like Lee Sin, then it's better to go for a full clear up, clear all of the camps, reset instantly, no hesitation, just instantly back and run for bot scuttle. If you do this, you'll most of the time get bot scuttle since they'll look for a topside play. However, if they instantly rush through the mid lane and go for bot side scuttle as well, then you're gonna lose it anyway, so it's whatever. But in a lot of cases, in a lot of scenarios, you can't really contest it, because as Kha'zix, you want to scale up a little bit more, so going for initial full clear is about 95% of the time the best play you can make. So yeah, as you can see right here, I'm just gonna go full clear. With these small ones, it's basically just use your W to try and hit everything with it, and then the second W, if you auto attack all of the small ones once, will kill the camp, and that way you're fine. Right here as well, you can leap over, press your W, and then auto attack Q, and then 2 auto attacks on the other small one, and then you're gonna get the big one in isolation range as well. So right here, as you can see, I'm just gonna go and full clear my camps. I know that the Lee Sin probably clear towards top side, so I'm not that worried. And this is how you want to play that early game out. Right here, as you can see, Now in this case, their bot lane base, my bot lane has BRIO, and I can easily just go for the bot scuttle as well. As you can see as well, the Lee Sin pretty much pathed back towards topside after ganking mid lane, which means he's never going to contest his bot scuttle, since he figures that if I start at red buff cleared down, there's no way he's going to get it and might already be gone. So this is something you can abuse. If the enemy clears towards the other side, you can just clear all of your camps, no problem, and then have a little bit of extra time to spare to be able to take the scuttle crab for free. So this is like the best thing that can happen to you. This is kind of how you want to play your early game, or have to play your early game, because you can't really go aggressive. If a gank is free, obviously, like you cleared like 3 camps here, for example, and then the mid lane is completely pushed up, or is like 2 HP, or anything happens like that, of course, go gank. Don't be stupid and just go for a full clear no matter what. But in 90% of games, especially in higher like elo games, you won't have any problems whatsoever. So you'll just be able to full clear, and then your lane shouldn't end before your full clear finishes. So there's really no reason. Now at this point, as you can see, I'm resetting, and at 4 minutes-ish, my camp that I cleared here, my Krugs, will spawn. If you clear the other side, your Gromp will spawn as well. So pretty much it times perfectly, and you can just do the full clear once again. This is the best start you can get. Going for early ganks is possible, but again, in this specific situation as well, like, this is not gankable. Top lane really not gankable, because the Jax is probably going to base now anyway, and mid lane is completely pushed in, so also not gankable. So my main game stage anyway is to like farm it out in the early game, which is the perfect game style for Kha'zix anyway for the first couple of levels. The moment you hit level 5 to level 6, you can then start looking for more like proactive plays, because this is the moment you're actually going to be doing some good damage and really starting to get, well, strong, really. 6 is the biggest spike. 6 is the one where you want to get more and more active. But before that, yeah. So right here, as you can see, I could have full clear, like, kept on full clearing, but in this case, I saw the Lee Sin topside, so I'm instantly just going to walk there first and make sure that I can react to a play if it does happen. The Lee Sin backs off there. And then for this right here, on level 5, as you can see, this is the moment where you start doing a lot of damage with 3 points in your queue. I see the Victor pushing up in mid-wave, and I just jump on him. Now, one thing to remember with Kha'zix ganks that's very, very important is what you see me do right here. So at the moment, this guy, no mana, which is also good. He does have his summoners, but TF is also coming into the lane, so there's really no issue here. TF can walk up. It's going to take him a long time to clear this wave because of mana issues. Lee Sin was just top lane, so he cannot counter gank this. And what you can see me do right here, so TF walks up, stun guards him, he instantly cleanses that. I land my W. I am not leaping. You want to keep your leap as long as possible. You need to make sure that you walk all the way up. Then you get an auto attack on him for the slow if you can. If he then flashes, you leap after him, because then, like, your leap, as you can see right here, I will do damage. I can Q, I can just kill him. If I would have leaped on him instantly, I would have been forced to flash after him or not get the kill, which would have been less ideal, and that's definitely not something I want. So off of that, I'm going to instantly look towards clearing some more camps where I can. In this specific situation, the TF is level 6 and is looking towards making a play on bot lane. So I'm going to react to this as well. I am very close to 6 with wolf camps. I would have hit it. But because the TF is roaming down, I'm also going to be roaming down looking for the play here with the plant. And TF just probably ults, goes in this. We kill the Ezreal with the TF right there. And as you can see, the Jax also teleported in. The main thing with Kha'zix right now that you want to look for is look for isolated targets. And make sure that you play to kill those isolated targets. Play back, make sure you can peel, because also if you walk in and out of brushes, you get your passive back, which is another slowing auto attack that you could use, and also just a damage increase in general. Now off of zoning them off right there, you can go for a next objective play that's really good on Kha'zix in general. The moment you hit level 5 and up, 6 especially, if you evolve your Q, then objective control like Dragon Rift Herald is going to be extremely easy, and objective control is one of the strengths Kha'zix has because of his Q isolation damage. You do so much damage, especially if you evolve Q first, that you will just get the objectives in no time. So as you can see right here, I'm just going to go for it, get the objectives there. Enemy team is completely zoned. I hit 6 off of the ward experience there actually, and the moment I get my Q evolve on this, I will just get it, and right there, that's the dragon. So I'm going to make sure that I keep this up as well throughout the entire game, because on Kha'zix it's extremely easy to go for this control, and it's definitely something you should be playing for. So Victor contests me on my camp there, there's not much I can do about it. I had a lot of gold, so it was not worth fighting it. As soon as you have your warrior enchant, you definitely want to make sure that you go and play towards that warrior enchant as well. Now another thing here is, like I get my warrior, I'm going to be very strong at this point. I can definitely contest the Lee Sin, no problem. this is the point in the game where you want to look to play aggressive and farm a little bit less. Tone it down. The early game pre-level 5 is where you just want to full clear as much as possible. Try to get as much CS as possible and maybe gank if you see an opportunity. Else, that's not the case. But here, Lee Sin ganks top lane, kills the Darius, which is whatever really. And now with the F, I'm just gonna go and make a play because I'm just gonna run down and then 4v2 this bot lane for the Lee Sin and punish his gank. So this is something you can pay attention to as well if you have the opportunity for this. And they're going bot lane like that just really paid off. Now, another thing about Kha'Zix is his isolation damage is completely disgusting. So if you can just bait somebody in, which is right here. This was a little bit fast. So I clear this pink. I place a pink over the wall. So what happens when you place a pink over the wall like this? If there's a Victor or just anyone in general, do keep in mind this game is around Master Elo. For people that are curious, this is around like a Master-ish. So a lot of people will still do this, especially in lower elos. They see a pink, they're like, okay, hey, that's a free pink, I can clear this, no problem. The only issue is he doesn't have vision on me, really. And I'm just gonna walk up here. He's like, okay, whatever, I guess I'll walk away. He still goes for the pink ward. I just, right there, go in and basically 2 Qs just kill him. This is the power spike you have when you complete your warrior enchant, and you definitely want to make sure you abuse this. Also, the Q evolve really helps with range increase and also CDR for more damage to do that a lot easier as well. So right there, that's just the play. Now we see the Lee Sin pathing up. I'm just gonna follow him, and that's basically just me seeing where he walked and then following him through. He goes in towards the mid lane, and I flank him from behind. There's not much he can do. Alright. Currently standing on the pink ward there. Was not gonna hit the ward to give away my position. It's better to, in some cases, just not give away your position and leave the ward up. There's not much they can do about it, so it's whatever. Again, right here, I mean, at this point in the game, you have to realize that my top lane is doomed. He's 0-4. My strength are going to be playing towards the Draven, playing towards the Twisted Fate, and making sure I shut down their bot lane as much as possible. So as you can see, he's half HP right here. Draven has the priority, and I'm just going to go back bot lane again. As you can see, I'm leaving my top camps up because they actually don't do anything for me. The only thing I would gain from going top lane is Rift Herald pressure. Only problem with this is Jax is currently 2-0, the Darius is 0-4, so there's nothing I would be able to do if they were contest the Rift Herald here. So it's actually not a worth it play for me to go for because they have a stronger top side, so it makes no sense. So for this reason, we just use Twisted Fate Ultimate again, and then with Twisted Fate Ultimate, we just dive them here on bot lane. Yuumi ults, 3F just dies, and they just die in general, and we can get a lot going there. Get a lot of plates on bot lane. The Lee Sin is also bot side now, which is good. And at this moment, I'm just going to pretend that I based, because the Lee Sin is probably going to see this Draven as a juicy snack. He has 300 gold, so I'm just want to play it out of vision. Make sure that I can use my passive and everything when a play like this happens. He will probably contest this. He probably, like, as you can see, Draven's literally 1 Q for this guy. So he goes in, jumps in, gets exhausted by Draven, and then instantly dies. So patience pays off in a lot of situations, and also I was never going to base because the dragon was going to spawn. If I would have based, I would have done it instantly. So now another great here with the dragon pressure. This is also what playing around bot side more helps you with. And because I saw that Lee Sin didn't have red buff and the red buff spawned, I can also take this as well to punish him further. So that's just things you want to look for. Now, as maxing order and evolve order, actually I do also want to mention this on Kha'Zix. I will every single game go for the Q evolve. The reason I go for Q evolve is objective control and jungle clear speed. If you go for the ult evolve, it's going to be a little bit better in skirmishes, but honestly, if you catch people 1v1, Q is better. If you go for objective control, like Rift Herald and Dragons, Q is a lot better as well, because you're just going to clear it a lot faster. And if you play around your isolation range when it comes to your jungle clear, the Q evolve just gives you a faster clear in general. So Q evolve is by far the best evolve you want to go for consistency and objective control. If you, I guess, play more skirmish heavy Kha'Zix, then ult evolve is possible, but I don't do it like ever. So really, yeah. So the second evolve is always going to be W, literally every single game, because it's just completely broken. The moment you hit level 11, your W slows from 90% if you hit an isolated target, and it's an AoE damage hit. So it's just completely disgusting, and the last evolve is going to be E for resets, because the moment you hit level 16 and you pick up resets, then fights are going to be pretty much over off of a single kill. So that's just the evolve order. Maxing order is Q first, then W, then E, because you don't really need your E apart from leaping. And you don't really want to use it for damage either, because you need it for the mobility. So I see the Lee Sin bot side, and I'm just going to go and instantly do Rift Herald. Now this is a late Rift Herald. I could have also done it at 8 minutes if I did play for this, but since my top lane lost, I couldn't really go for that play. That would have been very risky and pretty greedy as well. One trick you want to know with Kha'Zix on Rift Herald, by the way, is you literally don't have to move, because Kha'Zix has more than enough single target damage to where, as you can see, the Rift Herald opens up his eye and he hits you, and with the Revenant's Hunter and alongside just having the single target damage you have, the Rift Herald will just turn around and you could just pretty much stand there AFK hitting it without doing anything, just pressing your Q button and the Rift Herald will die. This is the fastest way to clear it on Kha'Zix. You don't have to do anything, don't have to kite around, because moving around it and everything is just going to cost more time than actually just standing still and hitting it. So right here, I'm checking Lee Sin's topside, seeing what's up. Okay, he's right there contesting me. There's absolutely nothing he can do because, well, I just out 1v1 him at this point. I have a good lead. I'm just going to instantly use the Rift Herald top lane to get top turret and get another bounce to weaken the other top turret as well if I can. If that doesn't happen, that's okay as well. I guess Jack stops it in this situation. I didn't really want to contest or fight this, simply because I'm pretty sure I'm sitting on like, yeah, 2,000 gold right here. So I definitely don't want to look towards playing aggressive towards the Jacks. Also know that Lee Sin is top lane, so I can't really make that play happen for me either way. So they see me there, and at this point I just need to make sure that I look towards backing quite soon to get my item power spike. I believe my Black Cleaver isn't that far away right now. So I see the Lee Sin mid lane right here. I instantly turn around, use my ult for some additional movement speed, basically do enough damage to one-shot the Lee Sin there. And then right there, I flash for the auto attack slow from my passive, but then also the red buff slow to apply as well. And then the Victor dies. Draven cashes in right before he dies, so it's not that bad, even though he did give some shutdown gold to the Victor. Now at this point in the game, as you can see, I needed one more camp to hit level 11 before I even want to fight. I also have 2.7k, so I really need to make sure that I base for a Black Cleaver right now, because Dragon's gonna be spawning somewhat soon. And then the level 11 power spike for the W evolve allows me to just go very aggressive into a lot of plays, as you can see right here. I'm just gonna go, he's pretty much just standing still there. There's absolutely nothing he can do, 2 Qs and Jax dies. And right now I'm just gonna play extremely aggressive. This is the point where you can start going very forward. The Ws will slow the enemy team when it comes to team fighting as well. This is going to be essential. And yeah, with Q evolve as well, you'll have a lot of single target DPS. So Dragon's about to spawn. They have it warded. I'm cutting this out of the pit to make sure that Lee Sin can't exactly get a free Q on it. So that's really my goal there. I do have a control ward in the pit as well, so I know that they don't have vision, or if they have vision. Lee Sin lands a Q, and I mean at this point, he can't really get in range. My Q smite will actually outsmite the Lee Sin right before he can even get to the objective. So whether this Dragon or this is Baron, if you can just Q smite, you will do more damage if the Dragon or Baron is isolated. So you can see right now, I'm making sure that I keep my jungle clear going, where like as much as I possibly can really. I do need to make sure that I play with my team. The ideal situation for me now would be to invade the Lee Sin as much as possible, get some counter vision in, play some control wards, sweep their jungle, all that type of stuff, take his camps to make sure they cannot come back into the game, and as soon as I see Lee Sin anywhere, basically one or two Qs will just instantly kill him anyway. If I use my ultimate properly, he will not even be able to kick me away, so I can literally just make a play like that. As you can see, 3 Qs basically clear the camp, and this is why Q evolve is so strong, for that extra additional clear speed. The better your clear speed, the better it's going to be, because this way you're going to be higher in level, higher in farm, and higher in gold. All of this really, really nice. So my team kind of just runs in a play like that. I'm not going to defend or over-aggress. There's nothing for me to get here. I'm going to be in a 1v3 situation against these 3. I will never win this, so I'm not even going to contest it. It's not worth contesting this. I'm just going to give up whatever I have to after my team walked in and died. And yeah, that's just the way it's going to be. So they get 2 turrets mid lane. I'm obviously, again, not going to play very aggressive, but I see the Victor on bot lane, and with the TF, he overstayed a little bit, so he can now get punished for this, and we get a free kill off that as well. This, again, reacting to what you see on the map. You see the Victor on bot lane right there. With the Dragon we have this increased move speed as well. We have Twisted Fatal, so we can easily make a catch. So that's really the play there. Now obviously my main objective at the moment, after having already had good objective control and picked up 3 dragons so far, I will play for the next dragon, which is going to be the Soul. And picking up a Soul every single game is obviously very, very nice. Now the problem with this Soul right here is it doesn't necessarily do much. Now sure, this Soul is actually decent with Darius. It's decent on Kha'Zix, but compared to Infernal Soul, Mountain Soul, or Ocean Soul, this Soul is by far the weakest one. So it's a bit unfortunate if it happens to like turn out that way, but it's okay. I still want to play for the Soul. Souls are also just very good in general. So I'm not gonna face check something randomly. I'm gonna play based on information. You can use your W to catch people very easily because your W is a 90% slow, which you can see on me playing on team fights. I'm gonna slow them. Yuumi, like if they were to walk up towards my team there, they would get heavily slowed. If they go back, my team might be able to kite it out, but in this situation right here, I'm just looking to land a W. The Lee Sin kicks me by flash kicking me, but the good thing about Kha'Zix is the moment something like this happens, you need to realize that, like right here, he goes in, he does his play, he flash kicks me back. I instantly press ult to be invisible so they can't hit me, and then I just flash away. I could have also leaped, but I actually flash because it's a little bit faster in this situation. So again, playing it very slow and just waiting for an opportunity to slow them with my W. As you can see, the Victor was pretty much standing still for an extended period of time there. I don't want to over-aggress because I cannot really fight them when they're not in isolation range. That could be a problem. Now I'm going to sweep in from behind here. They over-aggressed, overstayed, and I just W slow them and they will die off of that play. Now we get the Dragon Soul here alongside Baron off this play. We go for Baron initially because pretty much our entire team is dead and Draven can solo the Dragon. Now, however, I do need to pay attention to where Lee Sin is. I will value the Baron over this specific Soul if Lee Sin is camping somewhere around topside. If it was any other Soul, I would have just gone for that Soul instead of Baron because we could have picked the Baron afterwards, no problem. But because it's this specific Soul, I actually value Baron higher than this one. So I will go here, but now the moment that plan hits, basically, I see Lee Sin bot lane, I'm instantly running away from Baron, because that means they don't need me to smite the Baron, but I'm gonna be needed to smite this dragon and get the control over this dragon. So that's something to keep in mind here. This is just completely dependent on Lee Sin's positioning, and now we pick up a Baron and the Soul. Now this Soul is basically because I just played around the objective as much as possible, picking up whatever I could with the Q evolve. You can easily clear it. And you can be very, very strong that way. So as you can see right here, our main objective right now is to just group. We can play to group. This specific build is very good at grouping because your W slow pretty much perma-kites everything and perma-peels everything for your ADCs, for your damage dealers. You can assassinate by jumping in. So you can go in, assassinate someone that is actually low or in isolation range. And that's just the way you want to play these fights. So as you can see, I'm playing close to my Draven, my Twisted Fate, looking to make a play with a W slow so they can get free damage off. They cannot get engaged on because the W slow is pretty crazy. Now in this case, my Draven and my Twisted Fate go forward, get Yuumi ulted into Victor stunned, which honestly is pretty poorly played from them. There's not much I can do for that to save him from their mistake. But yeah, I'm just going to play back. I am not going to in forward. There's no reason to do so. So based off of that, go play back, because at this point you have to realize, if I jump forward like that right there, I'm worth 600 gold. I cannot be giving a 900 gold bounty, basically, because you're gonna get the gold on top of this, to anyone that would kill me for a misplay that my team makes. It's just not worth it. So I'm just gonna be bot lane, slow to Lee Sin again, and this is where this Soul specifically kicks in, because Darius is actually very, very good with his Soul. As you can see, all the move speed he gains, every single ultimate dunk he does, is actually crazy because he can just completely chase this down. Look at his move speed with Ghost and everything right there, and it just like he basically just executed that fight perfectly, and we won it off that. So again, using my W there wherever I can to make sure I slow them. This game specifically, I don't have to be the damage. Our team actually has a very good amount of damage output. I can still do a lot of damage, obviously, but it's better to play a little bit slower in team fights. Try to peel at first. Try to make an engaged play with your W, because your W is going to slow them for a heavy amount. And then that way they will not be able to do much against your carries. And you can, again, then use your entire kit to basically clean up. The moment you hit level 16, this cleanup is going to become a lot easier because of the resets. So you're basically just going to peel at first, look for an engaged play with a W slow. Then look to get the engage on somebody or catch somebody off guard. And then reset through the rest of the team fight to just win it out. This build for Kha'Zix with Conqueror, Death's Dance, Black Cleaver scales incredibly well and is an extremely good 1v9 game, 1v9 build into mid to late game. Right. So as you can see, I'm basically just standing off to the side, waiting to land my W's. I slow the W on the Lee Sin here. I also have healing reduction. I slow the Victor here, so they can't really engage. They can't really do anything. As you can see at this fight right now, Darius goes in, flashes forward, Nami ult comes in. My W slows, actually misses in this case on the more important targets right there, sadly. But like these W slows basically mean that they cannot go onto my team because they're pretty much permanently slowed. And at the same time, you can play in such a way that you can also allow your team to get an engage. So right here, I just go in, I slow. They have a hard time actually walking up because they're permanently slowed basically by my W. My resets go off, I can play off of resets, and right here the Elder Wolf spawns. So instead of over-aggressing, we're just going to play for the Elder. Now, where I'm standing is basically just a zone. If Lee Sin were to walk up, I will basically insta-kill him because W into Q with a lot of Black Cleaver stacks at the same time will just instantly kill this Lee Sin. There's not much you can do. I will go back into the Dragon Pit. They don't have any way to snipe it, and I'll just go back in to smite it off wherever I can. So right here, we pick up the Elder, we pick up Baron at this point. All we have to do is basically just run it down mid lane because they cannot defend against Elder and Baron. As you can see, same concept applies. You just try to play for W slows wherever you can. So this Victor pretty much got slowed, took a lot of free damage off that. And this is just the way you want to play. You want to play with your execute to clean up. Right there, Jax is slowed, can't really move, do anything. W slow put them out. As you can see, that W slow again kind of puts them right here. There's not much they can do. This is a very teamfight controlled build. And it's still going to be high in 1v1 situations because you have Armor Pen here, Tankiness, and also Sustain. Alongside Ravenous Hunter, you're basically just healing everything back insanely fast. And it's just a very, very difficult build for the enemy team to deal with. So right here, this is just the way to end the game. So basically, what you want to take away from this is you want to make sure that you fully clear your jungle early, get your initial levels going. As soon as you hit level 5, 6, you can start to look for objective control, start to look for dragon potential, Rift Heralds if you can, look for good opportunities to gank or 1v1 the enemy in their jungle, because at that point 5 to 6 is where Kha'zix starts becoming very strong. The moment you pick up your warrior enchant is the moment you want to just go all in, play very aggressive into the enemy jungler, because in a lot of situations if you catch him anywhere with vision control in their jungle, they are going to die to you simply because of your isolation damage. And that's basically how you snowball a game as Kha'zix. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button, as this does mean quite a lot for the YouTube algorithm to get this video out there. Also, if you want to catch me streaming live, make sure to do so. There's a link in the description. I stream live on Twitch quite regularly. And yeah, just come hang out right there. Also, yeah, just follow me, subscribe, everything, the good stuff, you know. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!